Thank you, Mr. Chairman. New technologies can improve the lives of patients, and the products we are discussing today, laboratory-developed tests or LDTs, are no exception. But for them to make a difference for patients, they must be accurate and reliable. Congress gave the FDA authority over lab-developed tests under the Medical Device Amendments in 1976. In 2015, we held a hearing in the Subcommittee on Regulation of Diagnostic Tests and Laboratory Operations. Even then, almost a decade ago, we saw the use of these scientific advances also have potential to pose serious risks to patients if they're not accurate. For example, they can lead patients to undergo unnecessary treatment or delay or forego proper treatment, resulting in harm. In the past, FDA generally applied an enforcement discretion approach for LDTs because most were manufactured in small volumes by local laboratories to meet the needs of local patient populations or were similar to other well-understood standard tests. However, many LDTs are now used more widely, with large laboratories accepting specimens from across the country and in larger volumes. LDTs have also gotten more complex, and they increasingly rely on more advanced technology and software. With advancements in artificial intelligence, it's likely that this trend will continue. The FDA has expressed increasing concern that some LDTs may not produce accurate results or perform as well as tests that are reviewed by the agency or otherwise comply with FDA standards. Concerns include issues with COVID-19 diagnostic tests, genetic non-invasive prenatal screening tests, and the blood tests manufactured by the infamous biotech company Theranos. And yet there's no required post-marketing reporting for LDTs, so we don't know the full extent of harm inaccurate tests can lead to. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that 70% of medical decisions are made based on laboratory test results. With many of these results coming from LDTs, it's scary to think that these tests do not currently have oversight and are not validated by FDA. New York State's Department of Health has conducted pre-market review for thousands of LDTs. The department said that over half of the LDTs they've received for review could not be approved based on their initial submission due to problems that called into question the reliability of the tests. And we've also seen that some manufacturers buy research-grade components that are not intended for clinical purposes because these parts are cheaper. It simply does not make sense that tests are treated differently based on where they're made. Now, I continue to believe that we have a responsibility to provide patients with greater certainty over the tools that are used to guide their medical decisions. That's why FDA's action in proposing a rule to regulate LDTs and end their enforcement discretion approach is an important step. It's my hope that this will help eliminate patients' harm from unnecessary treatment or under-treatment from inaccurate LDTs, not to mention the cost to the overall healthcare system. So I'd like to submit a letter from Dr. Dan Hayes, an expert with more than 40 years of experience as a laboratory clinical investigator and a medical oncologist in academic breast cancer programs. He noted, and now I'm quoting, that clinicians and patients depend on the FDA to carefully review the data and render difficult but reliable decisions about whether a drug is safe and effective. He went on to write that FDA should take the same approach towards diagnostics. He continued that, quote, a bad tumor biomarker test is as bad as a bad drug, and I completely agree. The information that LDTs provide clinicians and patients is of grave consequence, and that's why many major cancer advocacy groups and those in the lab community welcome greater FDA oversight. Physicians have years of training in the best interests of their patients in mind, but by not providing oversight of LDTs, we're failing them by not ensuring they can trust the tools that they have to guide their patient counseling and develop effective interventions. So the proposed rule is, in my opinion, an important step to help ensure that healthcare decisions are made based on test results that providers and patients can reliably trust. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today to understand how we can level the playing field so patients and the healthcare providers know that they can trust the FDA process while keeping up with medical progress. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.